He's finished. Thank you, Mr. Deputy Speaker. I said to the Prime Minister earlier that my area has seen a drop in the 7-day average of 55%, yet we emerged from the national restrictions in Tier 2, having entered them in Tier 1. So you could forgive us for asking how so, but in truth, I can't answer that one. You know, MPs were not consulted about that decision, and according to our county and our Director of Public Health, nor were they. Now, it begs the question, therefore, how will that change ahead of the December the 16th review point? In just 1 second. And what exactly needs to happen among the 5 stated data points outlined in the Secretary of State's written ministerial statement last Thursday to get us down to Tier 1 in very short order? And I am hopeful. Yes.
It's obvious that consultation with local government leaders and MPs has been woeful.
Well, it's woeful. It has been non-existent in many instances, and I'm not reassured to hear that it's been happening across the border in Dorset as well. I'm not surprised. So, look, Mr. Deputy Speaker, I need to hear from the government how this will change in the next 2 weeks, and to echo the calls that we've had in this respect today from many, many speakers on this side and from that side, I need to see a much more localised rather than regional approach. My constituents are perfectly capable of knowing where they live, be that Winchester, Alresford or Chandler's Ford in the Eastleigh Borough. And of course we'd go into that arrangement with our eyes wide open. We'd know full well that it could work in our favour if our rate went down, every bit as much as it could work against us if the rate went up. So my message to the Minister on the front bench and to the other ministers is please treat us as grown-ups. Involve us in your decision-making, because by that route you might just find that we're able to help build some consent and some compliance with whatever it is that's decided. So the reality, Mr. Deputy Speaker, is that for many of us, tomorrow will feel a lot like today. Working from home, bans on meeting with friends and family, many other restrictions on our lives. But for many of my bars and pubs and restaurants, not so much. They're in a terrible place. From talking to some of them in the last 24 hours, it's not the substantial meal point that's killing them. It's the fact Tier 2 prevents any household mixing indoors. So they can open, but the trade just isn't there. And because they're in Tier 2, the financial support isn't there either. It's the worst of all worlds. So we're told that that very household mixing is where the danger lies. And to quote the Prime Minister in his letter to MPs on Saturday, it would not take much loosening for the transmission rate to rise again. So why on earth, no matter how much I understand the desire to not be the modern Puritans, and how much I want a normal Christmas this year, why are we relaxing the rules for 5 days at Christmas? You know, to echo a phrase, I'm sorry to say this, wouldn't that be to trip on the last barbed wire and blow it just as the cavalry, in the form of the vaccine, comes into view? My hunch, Mr. Deputy Speaker, is that many people will have already decided for themselves to avoid seeing family and grandchildren over Christmas this year, and frankly, I salute their good sense in doing so. Now look, the record shows that I didn't vote for Lockdown 2.0 on the 2nd of November. Nothing that's happened since has told me that I made the wrong decision then. The tiered system, while not perfect for some of the reasons I've outlined, is far better than a national lockdown, which, for the record, and I'm bored of saying it, was never a lockdown. But we're not just recreating the tiered system here this evening, because on the face of these regulations, at Schedule 4, it lists exactly where each area falls, and that makes it very, very hard for me to support them this evening. In closing, I'll just say this, Mr. Deputy Speaker, let's just get these vaccines over the line. The MHRA are tough, and they'll do their job as they should, but let's get it over the line, let's get them rolled out with the sort of British efficiency that we're supposed to be good at, and then guess what? The annus horribilis of 2020 goes away, and these Hobson's choices that we're being forced to make will go away as well.
Leila Moran.